Hello and welcome to the Dunkelgrün Knitting Podcast. This is episode 2. My name is Anna and I'm coming to you from Zurich in Switzerland. And this is my cat Lila. Today I would like to talk to you about some finished objects. One finished object of knitting, one finished object of sewing, and also some works in progress. I have some new socks on the needles, and in the end I would like to have a little segment about natural dyeing, where I show you my adventures of natural dyeing with avocado pits, and I would like to show you a bit of the chemistry, at least about what I know of the chemistry of natural dyes. And I will also talk about this shawl in the segment of natural dyeing. Before we start, I would like to express a huge thank you to all of you who have commented or who left a message about my first episode. This was really heartwarming to read all those comments. I am so grateful and it was just amazing. I have not expected anything to happen when I uploaded that video, and the response was just amazing. Thank you to each and every one of you who has reached out and left a message or sent me a message on Ravelry, and your sweet words, it's just amazing. Thank you. So this is also why I am back and I am doing episode 2 today. So also I would like to mention some other podcasters who have mentioned me or who are just new, and I would like to give a shout out to them. First of all, there is the Three Sisters Knit podcast by Margaret and Sheila from Canada. Those two ladies have given such a beautiful introduction to my podcast. Thank you so much for these nice words that you used to describe my podcast. And if you don't know them, you should check them out. They have a beautiful program. They are very chatty and very creative and choose very beautiful projects and beautiful yarns also. So go check them out. Then there is also the Wool Jewel podcast, who is a Texan living in Germany, and she has recently started her podcast, and I think she's just great. She's super sweet. I love her choice of colors and projects, and I think you should check her out. Someone else I would like to mention is the Ninja Chickens podcast. Probably many of you know her. She lives in a very beautiful house in North Carolina in the US, and she has beautiful things to show. She does some amazing color work and shows you her chickens, and she's just awesome to watch. And finally, also, I mentioned her already last week, but I have to mention her again because she's just so lovely, and she also mentioned me in her podcast with such nice words. Magdalena from the Wolff and Schafe podcast. Thank you for your sweet introduction, Magdalena. So let's get started with finished projects. The first one I want to show you is the socks that I have knitted for my mom, which I have shown you last time. They are knit out of my own hand-dyed yarn, which is just a 25-75 wool nylon blend, and I dyed them in this beautiful fuchsia colorway. They have a 2x2 ribbed cuff, a plain stockinette leg, then a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, and then again just a plain foot, and finishing with a toe with a Kitchener stitch. So those are done, and my mom is going to like them. The other project that I have finished is a sewing project, and it is this little bag I made last weekend. It's just a little bit bigger than the bag that I showed you in the last episode, and the fabric for this I have dyed myself. It is a batik fabric dyed with fiber reactive dyes. So inside of this bag lives my actual new project on the needles, which is another sock project out of Wolff und Schafe yarns by Magdalena. This is her tag, which is a cute little hand-drawn wolf. And so Magdalena has a Etsy shop. You should check her out because her yarn is amazing. The base is called Paw, and the colorway is Turquoise Cave. It is 25% nylon and 75% superwash wool. And I have decided that I need a contrasting heel, toe and cuff color for those socks, but I didn't have anything matching nicely in my stash, so I dyed up a little mini skein of this caramelly brown color to match with the socks, because you can see there are these rusty specks in the yarn. This is how the yarn looks like when it is caked up, and this is the accent color for the toes, heels and cuffs that I have dyed for it. So I think that's gonna look amazing. How do you think this sock yarn is knitting up? Do you guess? Do you have a picture in your mind? You're probably gonna be wrong, because here is the sock. Isn't that amazing? It just looks like a self-striping. This pooling is just, I think, the best pooling that I have ever seen. I really love that. Magdalena, how did you do that? There are these lovely specks of brown and turquoise green in it. So I really like those socks. Another work in progress is my blanket, which unfortunately has not seen a lot of progress, but there is a little interesting story to tell about it anyway, because initially, here is my blanket. Initially, I was planning to put in all my scraps, which would include the colors black and white. So here is one of my black scraps that I wanted to put into this blanket at this place. But I have knitted in, I have put this black square, and then I put the blanket down and I did not pick it up anymore. And as I was looking at it, I was just getting more and more unhappy with this little black square. And the thing with black is, with the colors in this blanket, is that I would like to have the tones kind of evenly balanced. Like there is some light tones, some dark tones, and they play with each other. The thing is with black, nothing is as dark as black. And in order to have it balanced out, you would have to put black repeated quite frequently. You know, if there is a black here, maybe it would be good then to have a black also here in order to balance the dark tone out. But the thing is, with all the other colors you can do that, because there might be another color that is similar in tone, but with black you can't. So I ripped that black square out, and I hope now I will keep going a bit better. So the next 2 weeks I need to knit blanket. Next up is my spinning project, which I am currently having on my wheel. It is coming along well. It looks at the moment like this. This is Malabrigo Noob in the colorway Potheon. I was actually hoping to have it done by today, but this is how much of fiber I have left. It is a 100% merino fiber, and I think it spins up really well. I have read online sometimes that people complain about Malabrigo being not so easy to spin because it's a bit felted. I think this is not true. It is totally fluffy, and maybe they have improved their dyeing techniques or something. I really recommend it. It's an amazing spin. I think next episode I will have this ready and plied for you. Alright, so that's it with my knitting in progress. It's not so much because I am still working and I have only time in the evenings for my knitting and spinning. But I would like to have a little segment about natural dyeing. I have received a message on Ravelry from Uli from Karlsruhe in Germany. Uli has a similar background to me. She is a PhD in chemical engineering and she wanted to get into natural dyeing. So she asked me how I came to dyeing and what I read, if I have any book recommendations. And she also said that she found that most of the things that she was looking at were not scientific enough for her needs. So, for example, these recipes tell you to put 2 spoons of soda and they tell you that the pH is really important, but then they don't tell you which pH you should get with those 2 spoons of soda. So yeah, that's not really something that a scientist is happy to follow. And yeah, I can agree with her. It is sometimes a bit hard about dye recipes that non-scientists wrote. No offense, it's just usually a bit more shake and bake than really scientifically accurate the recipes that you can find. And now let me share a few of my thoughts on that topic. The book that I got in the very beginning when I started natural dyeing is this one here. It is a German-speaking book by Dorothea Fischer. It's Naturfarben auf Wolle und Seide, which translates to natural dyes on wool and silk. Dyeing without any toxic without any toxic additives. This is already something, as a chemist, you know, everything is toxic. And just because it is a natural plant dye does not mean that it is not toxic. But anyway, this book is very beautiful. I really enjoyed it. It has some beautiful pictures of plant-dyed yarns. It has a good description of the plants, and also the recipes are fairly reasonable. Here are some beautiful sunflowers. There is actually a preview on Google Books of this book. There are some pages you can look at, and there are also some recipes that you can have a look at. I will try to find the link for that to put it into the show notes. So yeah, all in all, I think it is a nice book to get into dyeing, especially if you speak German, because it is in German, because it has a lot of different plants in it, and yeah. But scientific, yeah, I looked at the glossary. If I could find the term pH in the glossary, there is stuff about planets and moon phases and I don't know, but not about the pH. So yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, I did some Googling after I received your question, Uli. I did some Googling about the topic, and I found one book that sounds rather interesting that is in English, and it is called Natural Dyes, Sources, Tradition, Technology and Science. It is by Dominique Cardon, or Cardon. It says in the abstract that this book contains information and scientific names of 300 plants and 30 animal species that can be used for natural dyeing and that have been used all over the continents of our planet throughout history by different cultures. So this might be a good book, I think. I don't know, I have not seen it. But it says also that for each dye it gives the chemical structure of the dye, which then might give you some information about as a chemist you can then maybe estimate a bit about the properties of that dye and how to deal with it. So maybe this could be an interesting book. If we look at natural dyeing and what it is and where it comes from and compare it to chemistry, it is two different things that have developed separately. Natural dyes have been used by humans since the Neolithic period, which started at 10,000 before Christ and ended about 2000 before Christ. And so this was actually before humans used metal tools for working. Before that they have already used natural dyes. And chemistry, the modern chemistry as we know it and use it today, dates back only to the 18th century when Antoine Lavoisier kind of revolutionized how chemistry was seen, and when chemistry was finally split off from alchemy as a real science and not just there were many funny ideas about how materials work and things like that. So we did not really have a proper understanding about bonds and atoms and matter and conservation of mass and everything until the 18th century. And then in the 19th century, when the Industrial Revolution picked off, a lot of synthetic dyes have been developed, so that the investigation of natural dyes and how they work and how they can be optimized with the tools of chemistry have always been a bit on yeah, they have always been neglected a bit, because industrially it was not really relevant, because there were the synthetic dyes which were cheaper to produce and gave more reproducible results. So yeah, maybe also there are some literature references from chemical research studies about natural dyes, but I have not really found anything thorough, like a book that gives you different recipes and things like that, because nowadays most of these recipes are written by artists and crafters, and so it is more a hobby and not really a science, which is also nice. So for me personally, I have always seen natural dyeing as a balance, or all my crafts and my dyeing, my kneading and everything is like a balance to the scientific work that I do in the lab, where in the lab I have to be very exact, and you have to monitor everything and write down everything exactly and know exactly how you did it. You need to understand it exactly. While in the dye kitchen you can also play around a bit. You can just have some fun, and it does not need to be exact, it does not need to be reproducible. And yeah, so that's my view on it. So maybe you can turn off your scientific eager to make everything exactly right and or reproducible and scientifically correct, and just have some fun and relax a bit when you are dyeing. I think that's a nice thing. Maybe I would like to show you some of my one of my most proud projects of natural dyeing, which is this shawl. The yellow color that you can see here on the lace sections I dyed with birch tree leaves, and the green color was also birch tree leaves. Actually, this green was first the same color as the yellow, and then I dipped it into an indigo bath to give this beautiful green. So I really like this shawl. I wanted to wear it today, but it is a bit too warm for me in the apartment. But it is knit on the bias, and it has these lace and garter sections. It's actually a little design that I came up with myself, and I think I will one day make some pattern with that. Yeah, let me take it off, it's too hot. Oh, then Uli also asked another question, and also about this I did a little bit research. She asked me if I have ever dyed with avocado pits, because she would be interested in doing that for her, because she likes the color. It's supposed to give some kind of pink, pinky shades. So, originally the answer to this question, if I have ever dyed with avocado pits, was no, but as my friends had a party and made a giant guacamole, I asked them if I could have the avocado pits, and so I took them and dyed some yarn with them. First thing I did, I let them dry for one day so that the peel on the outside got a bit more crispy or like dry, and then you can peel it off easily, chop the pits up. I noticed that they were oxidizing already in air and turning a bit pink and red in air, which is very interesting. Then I kept them a bit in the fridge because I didn't have time immediately to dye with them. Maybe that was a problem. But I mordanted my yarn in potassium aluminum sulfate, which is known as alum. For 1 hour I used 15% alum, which means 15 grams per 100 grams of yarn. And then I boiled also the plant material for 1 hour. It gave a very beautiful red color in the pot. And as soon as I put the yarn in, it looked like the solution was getting colorless, and all the color seemed to go on the yarn, but it only gave a very soft shade. So even after I boiled it for another hour and I let it cool down in the dye bath, this is the color that I got. It is very much like my skin color. I am not super thrilled with this color. And this is one of the things about natural dyeing. You play around a bit, you have no idea what you get. I think the problem was I didn't have enough, either these avocados did not have enough dye in them, and maybe it would have needed more avocado dye stuff to get a more darker shade. What I also did is I threw in a little bit of wool that was not mordanted, and maybe you can see that it turned a different color. So while the mordanted yarn is a nice pinkish, peachish shade, this one is only more beige and not very saturated. Maybe let's talk a little bit about the chemistry of natural dyeing. For those of you who are interested, really, the others, I completely understand if you don't want to hear that. The thing is, why you use a mordant in natural dyeing is to make the color stick to the fiber, right? So this is something that you guys probably know already. But the mordant is this aluminium salt, and what it does, it attaches to some hydroxyl and carbonyl groups, which are oxygen containing functional groups in the wool protein, and it sticks to them. So I have drawn a little schematic here. Is this green thingy, the aluminium bonds to the wool, and then a dye, and I have shown here alizarin as an example, which is a common compound you find in natural dyes, that then binds to this aluminium. And this also explains you why not all colorful molecules are able to dye wool, because while they are colorful, they still need to have these functional groups in order to bond with the aluminium or with another mordant to bind to your fiber. And the thing with natural dyeing here is also, when you are mordanting, in principle it would be good to put a lot of aluminium on your yarn as much as possible in order to get a darker shade. But the problem is also this aluminium mordant makes your fiber coarse. If you would put 100 grams of mordant in 100 grams of yarn, which would be 100% mordant, you would get a very stiff fiber, and your yarn is not going to like that. You're not going to like the properties of your yarn anymore. So what you need to do is find a balance between having enough alum in the wool to have a good color, but not too much so that your wool still stays soft. So maybe this was helpful, I hope so. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, if you would like to know more yarn dyeing, wool chemistry, I am happy to let you know some of the stuff I know. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and thank you very much for sticking with me if you're still here. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can send me a message on Instagram or on Ravelry, and you can join the dunkelgrün group on Ravelry and have some chit chat about this episode. Or maybe if you did some natural dyeing yourself, it would be very interesting to know what you came up with. Or if you did avocado pit dyeing, maybe you can share your experiences and let us know how they turned out. So yeah, with this I would like to say goodbye, and I hope you have a very nice week with a lot of knitting time, and yeah, bye!